Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to be covering day 17 of Troubles Restoration. It's an exciting one. I'm not going to be giving away any spoilers, so let's get into it. I'm back. I bet you didn't expect that. So there's going to be a slightly different take on this week's video. You'll soon see why. But basically I'm going to be flip-flopping backwards and forwards between past and present. So for the second time, let's get into it. Day 17. What did I get up to during day 17? Scraping. Where do I begin? I appreciate watching a YouTube video of me scraping the inside of Trouble's front right wheel arch. It's probably not the most exciting YouTube video you've ever watched. But did you know that there was approximately 25 pounds in weight of Underseal applied to the underneath of a Porsche 356? 25 pounds, it equates to, I mean, what, it's almost 1 to 2, isn't it? You just half it, basically. So maybe just over 12.5 kilos worth of Underseal or undercoating on the underneath of a Porsche 356. If you hadn't watched this video, you'd never have known that. So you're now better off for it. 25 pounds was literally a whole bucket. There was a whole bucket of Underseal applied to each of these cars. And now I and my mum, mostly my mum actually, if I'm going to be completely honest. My mum's done most of the scraping on Trouble. But yeah, me and my mum now get the joyful task of trying to remove it all. Spoiler alert, removing the Underseal on a Porsche 356. In fact, I imagine it doesn't really matter what the car is, any car. Removing Underseal is not easy. It's painstakingly difficult actually, and I kind of get why people opt to dip these. But I'm not going to touch on that now. That's going to be coming later on in the video. But yeah, it's not easy, and I really do get the vote for potentially dipping these cars. Why did Porsche decide to completely cover, I mean like smother the underside of their car with this stuff? And a whole bucket of the stuff actually, not just a little bit. They really went to town on it. Well, Underseal, or undercoating as some people call it, serves two primary purposes. The first purpose is rust proofing, which, as you can see in Trouble's case, that worked really well for her. You might be wondering why Porsche didn't use the same paint they used to paint the exterior of Trouble. The reason they didn't use the same product, paint, to rust protect the underneath of the car is because Underseal is rubbery and paint is not. This rubbery nature of Underseal is a really important feature because it gives the wheel arches and the rest of the underneath of the car protection from any kind of like stones or debris that the tires pick up and throw at them. If regular paint was just used, which isn't as durable from impact such as stones or whatnot, it would very quickly chip, putting a chink, so to speak, in the armour of Trouble. You'll also seen Trouble did get a fair share of chinks in her Underseal armour, but that's primarily why they don't just use paint on the wheel arches. Instead they use Underseal. It's because it's a lot more rubbery, it's more durable to impacts, and as a result it provides much better protection to those areas which may be in a more harsh environment, so to speak. So acting as a rubbery rust proofing is the first purpose of this delightful, I'm looking here because it was, you know, it was everywhere. It was everywhere. It was horrible. I don't want to think about it. Yeah. The first purpose of this delightful material is rust proofing. The second is to help reduce any road noise or to help panels from vibrating. So by covering a panel in this rubbery material, it increases the weight of the panel, which can change, it's a bit scientific, but like its resonance frequency. It changes at what point it will start vibrating. So you make panels heavier and they'll stop vibrating. And the second thing is it acted as a type of like insulation or I guess an absorbing material to help kind of quieten any noise coming through into the cockpit. So here's a quick update on where we are with this front wheel arch. So we scraped quite a lot of the top out. And towards this front kind of bumper mount. Again, got a bit more to come off across the top there. The top of the wing is still not touched, as you can see. And then we've still got a load here to come off. yeah, we're getting there. It's not a quick job. We'll get there. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Nowadays, there's all sorts of different types of things people are chucking underneath cars to act as underseal. There's one in particular that I've got my eye on, which I'm going to be putting on Trouble, and it's actually for colour as well. So you can add the colour of the car into it so that the underneath of the wheel arches looks the same colour as the outside, which I think is pretty cool and quite a nice touch. Back in the day, when Trouble was used, they used this one.
After inspection and acceptance, the body shell then moves into the paint shop. Here, the first step is application of undercoating. Each body is undercoated with 25 pounds of coating for weather, sound, and rust proofing. The undercoating is carefully sprayed on for complete coverage.
As you can see, they were not shy about applying it, literally spraying it on by the bucket. That's not exactly a small bucket either. I guess at least you got your money's worth. I've actually been told that the bloke in that video that's caused me and my mum all this grief in trying to remove Trouble's underseal is actually a bloke on the production line at Porsche called Hans. Hans, if you're watching, you were very good at your job. You excelled at it. And if you'd like to put on Trouble's new underseal, you're more than welcome. Come round, I'll give you a brush, slap it on, or a sprayer, spray it on. Whatever you like, you can do it. You did a fantastic job the first time round. My dad, he's actually not too convinced that the bloke responsible for undersealing Trouble was actually called Hans. Or he's even skeptical that there was one bloke responsible for undersealing all the cars. Apparently, I mean, I don't know this, but my dad has worked in Germany. Apparently Hans is a pretty common German name, and that it would be quite a big ask to get one guy to apply the underseal on 76,000 cars over a period of 17 years. So my dad thinks that might just be someone pulling my leg. When he puts it like that, yeah, okay, maybe Hans didn't apply Trouble's underseal, but it's a nice story, and I'm a believer in stories. So, ignoring all the facts, Hans was responsible for Trouble's underseal. What was in Hans's bucket? Well, obviously other than underseal, because he was applying underseal, that very generous bucket was full of a bitumen-based coating. The best way to describe this is like a type of thick tar-like product which could either be brushed or sprayed onto the car. At the time when these cars were being made, this product was favoured for its supposedly excellent adhesion, durability, and water resistance. I'll agree, it did have excellent adhesion. Removing it was an absolute pain in the ass. Did it have good water resistance? It probably did. But was it durable? I don't think it was as durable as Porsche hoped. The underseal was Trouble's chink in her armour. In theory, Porsche was doing absolutely everything right by applying this underseal to their cars. It acted as seriously good weather protection. There was just one problem. This underseal was almost too good at being water resistant and not good enough in terms of durability. Over time, the stones that Trouble's tyres threw up broke the all-important seal of the undercoating. This then allowed moisture to get in behind the underseal, and as it was so water resistant, this moisture then couldn't get out. The inevitable happened and her wheel well started rotting. The worst part was this rot was happening in the background behind what looked like nice looking shiny black wheel wells. What really didn't help Trouble's protective underseal and her eventual demise was her use as a rally car. Maybe the underseal would have been fine upon normal road use, but the added kind of impact and the environmental factors of rally stages, it was just too much, and eventually caused chips and cracks to appear, which then allowed more water in. Just give you guys another quick update. Oh, you can't see. I'll flip the camera around, but under this wheel arch, I think it's a breather pipe for the fuel tank that we have that runs along here. So this is where the tank filler neck goes. Comes from this inner wing and then goes into that little hole up there. This is this breather pipe that I was talking about. There was one clip here, and then there's another clip there, and there's another clip there. So what I'm gonna do is, that one's already opened up. We're using this, get under this clip, and get under his clip, and just open it up. Oh, that's that open. Now again, just down here. It's quite hard with one hand, but we'll do it. There we go, open that. So they're now open, there's little tags. And now, this little breather pipe. Ooh. There we go. He's off. Look at that. I'll just put him down there. There it is. Fuel tank breather pipe out. And now, should be able to just get all of that. Yeah. Not bad, eh? This is the bit I'm going to get on next. So let's see how thick it is. I've already said, but you can now probably definitely see for yourself, this stuff really isn't easy to remove. You wouldn't be wrong to question why I'm bothering. Lots of people wouldn't. The reason I am investing all this time in trying to remove all of Trouble's underseal is because of the method I've chosen to strip Trouble back to bare metal. I chose to media blast her instead of using acid dipping. Why does that change things? Well, an acid bath would dissolve all of the underseal, so you definitely wouldn't need to bother. But media blasting, well, that's a different story. Because of the protection Underseal provides against impact, when you try to media blast it, it's very slow and difficult to remove. The impact of the media is just absorbed by the rubbery nature of the Underseal and then bounces off. This means it takes a long time to remove it using media blasting. And when you're paying a media blaster by the hour, it then makes that a very expensive job and you risk damaging the car. You might have heard of panel warp from media blasting. Well, this typically happens for two reasons. The first is because of an inexperienced media blaster blasting a panel, not necessarily knowing what they're doing. Get the gun too close to the panel, bang, warped. The second is from heat buildup. As you can imagine, there would be much greater chance of panel warping occurring if I left this Underseal on, as the media blaster would have no other option but to just persevere on a particular area of Underseal until it eventually came off. In the process of this, heat would build up and my panels would warp. I already have a pretty tough job as it is with Trouble's bodywork. I don't need to be making my life any more difficult by damaging the good panels that she does have. So yes, that's why I'm painstakingly removing as much of Trouble's Underseal as I can. I tell you what, scraping is not easy. If anyone ever rings you up, it'd be like, hey mate, wondering if you'll give me a hand scraping the Underseal off my car, say no. Absolutely never, no. No number of beers is gonna be worth it. This is the mess that I've been making. And let me just get a light so you guys can see. This is what we've got so far. So we're making good progress. What I've just discovered though, as you can see, this inner wheel arch here is looking pretty I think it's the only way you can really say it. What I've just discovered is a series of which look like either screw heads or bolt heads, hoping they're screws, and I think that's a patch. So I'm just going to try and undo it, and let's see if I can save myself from having to scrape all of that off. Let's have a look. Don't think that one's actually in anything. Likewise with that one. Yeah, that's not in anything. What do we think we're going to find under here? A load of money to help me
fund the costs of this restoration. And then I think one more up there. Now, that's out. I'm hoping this comes off. Hey, and that is what the old car used to look like. There's no real need to scrape that because that is clearly never going to be reused, is it? Let's be honest. That's just going to be cut out. It's a mess. I wonder when I last had my tetanus.
Is removing underseal dangerous? Well, everything obviously has its hazards to some degree. It's obviously not good to be breathing in dust, etc. But dust aside, as a bitumen-based product, the only real hazard is if you heat it up. Any fumes released from bitumen contain polyaromatic hydrocarbons. Don't be fooled by their name containing aromatic. They don't smell good and are dangerous. If these fumes are inhaled, they can cause irritation to your throat and nose, and worse, they have been known to cause lung cancer. Obviously, when working on anything like this, it's really important that you wear any necessary PPE. As you can see in this video, I'm wearing my respirator and I've got some dust filters attached to it. Now we know the underseal is pretty safe to remove if you remove it in the right way. I'm going to share my secret on how I removed Trouble's underseal. If you've been watching carefully, you would have actually already seen how I did it. It's not rocket science and you do not need any expensive tools. Although I have actually been told of one tool that would make my life a lot easier. A pneumatic scraper. Apparently you can get them, Snap-on make them. So probably going to look at investing in one of those. But yeah, no, you don't need a pneumatic scraper. All you need is a scraper, a broken filling knife. Ideally as stiff as possible. Floppy ones don't work. You'll see in the video that I'm using one that's kind of like cut down. It was a broken scraper that cut down. So yeah, broken scraper and old chisels, and maybe even some screwdrivers with broken screwdrivers that you can grind into a point, because the points can also be helpful for getting off the underseal. So that's it. That's the only things you need. Scrapers, chisels, screwdrivers, and then a bit of elbow grease. Gloves do also help though, because after a whole day of scraping, all your hands are weak. After a whole day of scraping, you do get some serious blisters in the palms of your hands, which aren't comfortable. The gloves also are pretty useful when you slip with the scraper, so you don't end up like taking all the skin off your knuckles with whatever your hand goes to collect. The other thing that you're going to need is the right mindset, because it does take some time. And even better, try get your mum to do it. I'm going to call it a day there. Scraping is a pretty mucky job, and it's energy zapping. Absolutely energy zapping, yeah. Some bits of this underseal are like the most stubbornest things you'll ever see. Here's my mess. Tried to be quite clean, sweeping up as I go. Here's a pile of underseal. And yeah, and this is where we got to. I started on the back of the light, and that's where I kind of properly lost the wheel, so stopped. But all of this is done. All up there. So really, I've just got the roof of the inner wheel arch and this side of the inner wheel arch to go. All of this looks quite cool. I'm pretty chuffed with all of here. Yeah. We're getting there, surely, slowly but surely. It's time for a beer. I appreciate that watching me scrape underseal off Trouble is probably quite a repetitive thing. So I hope you enjoyed this different educational take on this video. If you have any tips on how to remove underseal for me in the future, for any future restorations that I take on, please let me know in the comments, because I'm always willing to learn. And as well as efficient and effective as scraping was, maybe there are better ways out there to do it. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please do give it a like. If you'd like to let me know what's on your mind about my video, get it in the comments. And if you don't want to miss a minute of Troubles Restoration, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time. Thanks everyone.